Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. We're getting ready to start our Behind the Science call on the cool aspects of immunity. And it's very diversified than I think most people think about. And we are going to have Mary Esther. And Mary Esther brings 40 years of experience in nutrition science, physiology, botanical medicine, and holistic health. She holds degrees she holds degrees in holistic nutrition and nutrition science and a nutritional healing specialist. She's a researcher and the founder of the True Health Mastery Institute. And her work helps people understand what is happening inside the body and how nutrition, lifestyle, and whole body wellness work together. So she literally wrote the book on our products, and we're excited to have her here to talk about immunity. And we're going to learn a lot of deep dive stuff about immunity tonight. And I'm gonna hand the floor over to her for just a few minutes, and then we'll get started on the questions. Let's see. Did she make you co-host, Mary Esther?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I should be able to share. That's all we need.
Okay. Perfect. Hopefully we'll have a few more people jump on. Should we give it a couple more minutes or should we just get started?
Whatever you'd like. You're in charge.
Okay. So I guess we'll jump in because they can watch the replay and we've got a lot of stuff to cover. It gives us more time to chit chat at the end. And so most people think about our immune system when they're sick. What is our immune system actually doing every day when we're feeling healthy?
Okay, I really enjoyed answering your questions, Amber. So we're going to have to go kind of fast because I tend to get very scientific, but I just want to make sure everybody understands how the body works. That's all I ever care about. Let me go ahead and share my screen so that everybody sees what I'm seeing here. Okay, enlarge that a bit. Okay, great. Here's your first question. So, yeah, nobody really thinks about their immune system unless they're sick, right? Then they're in a hurry to do whatever they can to help their immune system get over it. But when we're healthy, no one really understands what's going on behind the scenes, what's keeping us more healthy than we realize. There's a big fight and a big battle going on in the body. So there's a system of immune cells called the white blood cells or immune system that are constantly monitoring the body. They're always destroying and eliminating all these invasive illness-causing microorganisms like parasites and bacteria and viruses and fungi. We are exposed to these more than we realize, and so our little our little team of destroyers in the body go around and policing the area, and they just pay attention to whatever doesn't belong in the body, and they start destroying it. So they detect the presence of toxic foreign chemicals as well. So they're mobilized to eliminate them out of the body. And having these phytochemical complexes in plants goes a long way toward binding to these toxic chemicals and allowing our immune system to therefore destroy them and help uh, get them eliminated out of the body. So things like the processed foodstuffs, that contain all the chemical dyes and the colorants and preservatives, none of those are nutrient factors. So the body doesn't recognize them as anything it needs, and sometimes it recognizes them as something hazardous that needs to be eliminated as soon as possible. So that causes a lot of inflammatory reactions. So there's also synthetics in our personal care items, cosmetics, hair and skin care, household cleaners, all of these kinds of chemicals that are exposed to our skin, and we inhale them. So they enter the circulatory system. And so again, our immune system gets to work and starts eliminating these things. Things like industrial chemicals, environmental pollutants, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, those are all considered toxins by the body that just don't belong there. So then we have different immune cells, which I'm going to go over. You'll see a very colorful chart where I show pictures of all the different types of the white blood cells, and I'll tell you what each of those different types do. So they cleanse the system by breaking down and eliminating cellular debris like spent old or sick cells, destroyed microbial residues, things that are just broken down on their way out. So also the immune cells patrol the body's tissues for abnormal foreign proteins or other antigens. And antigens are any substance that triggers the body's immune system to make antibodies, which destroy those antigens. So also they help regulate blood pressure and nutrients in the gut or the lower intestine. And we'll go over quite in a bit more detail in response to the questions that you posed, Amber. So they also monitor and block the points of entry, and I'll show you some diagrams of what happens there. In the skin, the mucous membranes, which also catch particles, and also activate enzymes that neutralize all these threats. So our bodies are producing all of these enzymes all of the time that do different jobs. Also, our T cells, one of the types of immune cells, regulate and suppress all these abnormal responses, like preventing the immune system from attacking its own health tissues. So we have to nourish ourselves properly and correctly at all times so that our immune cells will recognize which cells to destroy and which tissues to destroy and which to leave alone and aid in their healing process. So also staying adapted in line with the body's circadian rhythms. Our sleep is very important, making sure we have regular sleep so that our bodies know when to digest, when to absorb, when to rest, when to do all of these different functions that we need to do and not have those rhythms disrupted. So they're important for maximizing our immune readiness. So our immune system has to understand what's coming next. All right, so here are some photographs. This one is just kind of a general picture of all the different types of blood cells or white blood cells, immune cells that are circulating along with the red blood cells in the arteries. So most immune cells are generated in the bone marrow, that soft spongy tissue inside the bones, both white and red blood cells. And so the soft spongy tissue inside your bones contains special stem cells that build your immune system. So that's where our cells start dividing and becoming more specialized according to what cells compose different body systems. So here are the neutrophils. Now they're the early responders. They reduce to infections by consuming harmful microbials. They engulf them, they surround them and engulf them and digest them, called phagocytosis. And they unleash toxic enzymes to break down pathogen cell walls, like if a cancer cell starts forming, the immune system starts breaking down that tough outer coating so that it cannot function. Obviously, if it breaks it wide open, it's not going to be functional. Or they trap and kill microorganisms or any other pathogen or illness-causing substance to prevent spreading. So this is a little image of what these neutrophils kind of look like. These are all computerized, of course, images. And their DNA in our immune cells are a little bit different. They're not enclosed in a little capsule. They are actually divided and stretched out across this inside the immune cell, as you can see here. Now we have basophils. They're involved in reactions to allergens, parasitic infections. They release histamine to improve blood flow to damaged tissue, and they release heparin to prevent unwanted blood clots. So they're at work destroying any kind of allergen or parasite. These basophils know what to identify, and they go to work to destroy them. And they're also important for dissolving unwanted blood clots. The eosinophils, they combat multicellular parasites and help control allergies and asthma. And you can see how funny the DNA is, the purple here. It's just a strange looking kind of DNA, but that's the nature of immune cells. And then we've got the monocytes. They mature as macrophages when they get older, or dendritic cells, little dendrites. As you can see, these little projections out here. These are the dendrites that draw things in to be destroyed. This also is an early responder, and it's released into the blood in response to any kind of infection. So their early mobilization slows down the spread of illness-causing pathogens, trapping them, locally so they don't spread and they don't grow. Then we've got the lymphocyte, and those are very important. They are subdivided into T cells and B cells. Now, the B cells, as this little cartoon says here, attack invaders outside the cells. Those are the B cells. And the T cells, they attack invaders inside the cell. So they work together in and outside of the cells. So the infections not destroyed through the phagocytosis are detected by these lymphocytes. So anything left over that the other immune cells missed, they go to work and they catch it. They function as adaptation and memory, remembering individual types of infections and viruses. So the body actually remembers what type of virus it had before, and it understands, it like keeps a record, of what it's had before so that it can more easily destroy it or stop it, right? So this is a very effective counterattack. So the T cells wipe out infected or cancerous cells. They help B cells eliminate pathogens, and the B cells create antibodies, proteins that neutralize and bind pathogens or foreign substances to keep them out of healthy cells to prevent infecting them. Here's a little diagram. Both of these here, you see all of these pathogens, and this particular immune cell is just engulfing it and going to digest it and spit it out. um, Also, these lymphocytes, here's a pathogen. It looks like some kind of a bacteria or a kind of parasite. So this lymphocyte is all ready to engulf it. It has its eye on it and it's going to destroy it. So the macrophage, which is the matured monocyte, they're also early responders, and they produce toxic enzymes that actually kill and engulf and digest these pathogens. And that, of course, is phagocytosis. And they produce enzymes that disrupt the tissue. Okay, so those are the different types of white blood cells. This is what's going on in our body all the time, every day. And in the meantime, the red blood cells or erythrocytes, they're housing all of these different kinds of immune cells, circulating them throughout the body. And also the platelets, these little small protein fragments, they help form clots if there's an injury. They stop the bleeding so that the wound can be healed underneath it, and then it's dissolved properly. And these are manufactured in the bone marrow, all of these cells.
Wow. So it's almost like a little army with all these different jobs in our body, and it's really just working really hard behind the scenes. And so now we've talked about what our body's doing when we're well, or we appear to be well, we're not experiencing any symptoms. But I'm just wondering, are there any early signs that we might need some more support and early clues that are coming that maybe come right before we get sick that we can be on the lookout for?
Yes. So the things that make our immune system wear down and make us more vulnerable to illness is just chronic stress, because our bodies produce stress chemicals that are what are called free radicals. They steal electrons from healthy cells and they start breaking down and not functioning efficiently. So it's very, very important to be highly nourished so that you don't respond with such devastation physically and mentally, of course, and emotionally when you're highly nourished like that. So chronic stress will impact the immune system's ability to function efficiently because it affects those cells as well. Um, and under chronic stress, it'll trigger all these impairments in every molecule, that's trying to do its job in the body, and the inability to modulate the immune system, let the immune system receive the instructions as to what to destroy and what not to destroy. Also, it impairs the distribution and the mobilization of immune cells in various organs and the blood. So you maybe stopping, the access to various things that need repair, things that need addressing in the body if the immune cells can't detect them or get to them or reach them. So also another sign is chronic fatigue and ongoing systemic inflammation. So those two go hand in hand along with chronic stress. All of these inflammatory reactions are going on, and this is going to exhaust and overtax the immune system too, because they'll be super busy and they may not be able to get to everything all at once, or the immune cells themselves will be damaged. So then we've got a thing called dysbiosis, which is altered, reduced amounts of beneficial gut microbiota, which are the aerobic beneficial bacteria in the colon, in the gut. And so this can lead to digestive issues like gas, bloating, diarrhea. And since much of the immune response tissues are located in the gut, now that's surprising to a lot of people because it's hard to believe that a lot of our immune system hangs out in the gut. There's a lot of communication pathways going on, which we will address pretty soon in response to your other question.
Yeah, as
So
I'm reading these answers, I'm like, oh, we've got these other questions coming up and they're already popping up here.
yeah. Yeah, you can't avoid it. It's all together. It's all communicating together. So then also, dysbiosis is caused by frequent infections, recurring colds or other more serious respiratory conditions. So, a lot of people who start out with colds end up with pneumonia and, God forbid, ended up, passing on. So we have to make sure that our immune systems are strong. Also, chronic sinus problems, that's another sign that your immune system is very weakened. And also an abscess. Usually it's like a bacterial infection that becomes inflamed, painful, or swollen. All these white blood cells congregate in the area, and people call that, pocket of pus, which is gross, I know, indicating presence of white blood cell concentrations fighting the infection. So whenever you see that happening and it's white, then you know your white blood cells are at work. So a best way to prevent that from happening in the first place or to help the healing process along is to concentrate on a high phytochemical complex diet, and also the other food groups are just as important, which I'll mention coming up here. So then we've got slow healing of wounds when your immune system is weakened and they're just unable to repair the tissues or eliminate bacteria or other microbes very effectively. It takes them a lot longer to be able to destroy them or just to get around to it because there's not enough of the immune cells being manufactured because of, nutrient deficiencies. So then also you can suffer from skin outbreaks, rashes, lesions, fungal infections. Many people suffer from that. Also, when you have laboratory work done, the markers, the reports that come back will show a low white blood cell count or elevated inflammatory cytokine proteins, things like C-reactive protein generated by the liver in the presence of inflamed conditions from infections or diseases like heart disease or any other disease actually is just a state of inflammation. Also, the interleukin 6 triggers fevers, involves the liver to aid in producing acute phase proteins during infections and or injuries. Also, there are a tumor necrosis factor, alpha. It's a protein messenger generated by immune cells, and it triggers inflammation to handle infections and control cell death. So all of these problems can be present if your immune system is weakened. Also, another marker would be the low immunoglobulins, the Igs. And those of you who've had laboratory work probably are familiar with these. They show deficient amounts of antibodies, these little Y-shaped proteins, white blood cells that produce to identify, neutralize, or bind to and eliminate foreign invaders like bacteria and viruses, or fungi, or parasites. So these are the 5 IGs, IgA, D, E, G, and M. And these are the functions. I'm sure I don't have to read them all out to everyone, but you will have, of course, access to the PDF file on my website, holisticchoices.com/APL, and you'll be able to download this, for free, of course. So, these are what the laboratories are going to test for, and what those mean are just, their functions that are listed here.
Well, I, for one, am excited to see all of this because I mean, I know I have had blood tests happen and I'm looking at these results and I see all these things and nobody has ever explained it to me. I knew what white blood cells were, but I had no idea what all of these other things were. So thank you for going over that because that is truly awesome. So we touched on
Yeah,
it a
we
little.
have,
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay, so we did touch on it a little bit, but how important is managing stress and getting quality sleep when it comes to that healthy immune system? And additionally, what products would you recommend that APLGO has to support those things in particular?
Okay, yeah. So I'll be going over mainly the immune kit, but also and again, another great question that you posed later. I will respond to that as well. So this question is going to get answered kind of twice. So so we have to understand this. See, I love to be able to explain things so that people understand what's going on in the body. Once that happens, I find that people's interest or compliancy rates go way, way up when they finally get what's going on inside their body and what went wrong. Sometimes health providers don't explain that, like you just said, they don't explain it. And so a person doesn't understand the reason. And it's much easier to fall back into old habits that way. But once they start becoming more educated and more aware of what's going on inside their body, they can actually send thoughts to the DNA. Now, this is a scientific research that's been going on for many, many decades. When you talk to your cells, you are actually influencing their outcomes or their behavior. Of course, we need to be nourished, but that other aspect of being well is you talking to your body, and letting your cells know that you get it, that you are helping, that you care, that you love. There's a lot of science, of course, that explains how even plants respond to positive words and music and things like that. So there's a lot to that aspect of our health that people have been taught to dismiss as silly or, no value, no scientific, backing on that. But in fact, there is a lot. So I just went off on a little tangent. I'm sorry about that, but very,
Oh, I
very
love it.
passionate about that. Anyhow, so to answer your question, sleep improves the immune cell's capacity to defend against infection and chronic inflammation. That's when the body goes to work and it's not distracted by any stimuli or any other, toxins entering the body. It's just concentrating on fixing what needs fixing. So sleep reduces the risk of cardiac, neoplastic tissue growth, that's abnormal tissue growth like cancers, autoimmune problems, and neurodegenerative conditions. So sleep will help your body deal with these kinds of issues. Sleep disruptions impair daily activities, work performance, and affect public safety. If a person is sick or distracted, of course, they're not going to be safe on the road. Sleep is essential for cognitive, affective, and behavioral processing, things like executive function, making decisions, attention, memory. Things can go wrong, are losing focus quickly, frequent mental lapses, memory problems, holding and using new information becomes challenging. Adapting to new plans or rules becomes more difficult. People don't like change when they're in a state of diminishing health. Things are scarier, they cannot handle any kind of disruption. Controlling impulses, avoiding risky choices is compromised. So people's judgment is compromised. Trouble switching between tasks, people like to multitask and sometimes they get lost in it, so or just switching to something else that needs more higher attention, higher priority. Again, that's executive function. So then we've got emotional regulation, feelings of anger, sadness, stress. Brain emotional control centers are disrupted that control those things. And of course, it's going to affect your interpersonal interactions. And there's plenty of scientific research to back all that up with. So then here are, in answer to your question as well, here are the APLGO botanicals in the immune kit shown to help calm reactions to stress and support immune functions for quality sleep and rest. So what I did was I divided up each individual formulation in the immunity, kit, and I divided up just a few of the botanicals that are in these formulations known to aid stress reactions, maintain calm and system efficiency, and also support immune system action. So there are so many functions that these plants do, but we're focusing on the immune system tonight. So this is what the botanicals in these formulations will address: aiding your body, react to stress while maintaining calm, rationality, making better decisions, just staying more calm. So your immune system can be more efficient. And also, these phytochemical complexes in these plants, they have so many immune supporting functions. All of this is in the APLGO book, by the way, for anyone who doesn't have that book. We'll be talking about that at the end here. So then the ALT, which is also an immune kit formula, these are the botanicals that will aid your stress reactions, keep you calm, and also boost your immune system actions, as well as the botanicals in Grow. And you'll see some of these are overlapping. When you have different botanicals, you have a different set or combination or synergistic action of different phytochemical complexes going to work, and your body just loves all of these complex molecules. It has so much to choose from to fix whatever it wishes it needs to fix. So these are so compatible with the human body. these plant chemicals have been shown to be so very close to our own DNA. So we are very compatible, and our cells welcome them completely all the time in order to, do its efficiency processes. So then here are the other APLGO lozenges that also contain botanicals known to be antioxidants, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and so therefore all of these botanicals will combine together to address the immune system, the hormonal system, which monitors the immune system, the nervous system, which responds to what the gut-brain axis communications are, and all of the other systems that are communicating all together. So these complexes in these botanicals, in these formulations, are excellent for just regulating the whole entire system. Again, in the book, I go into much more detail of all of these different types of botanicals and all of their health attributes.
Awesome. So you pretty much can't go wrong with any of the products just about for this particular thing almost.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what I learned. That's what I learned in Chinese medicine, where practitioners, we always thought, well, okay, so we need to, analyze these formulas and recommend them, but they all seem to be very beneficial. So how do we tell them apart? It depends on which system you want to focus on and which you want to emphasize in the different formulations.
Right, exactly. And one of the things that, when you going back to what you were saying about talking to ourselves and then the stress. So if we're stressed and we're angry and we're saying these things out loud, those words are affecting ourselves negatively. So that's what I hear, that's what computes in my brain that some of that stress changes over to what our tone is and how we're speaking and our bodies are absorbing how we're speaking. So I know I've
Yeah.
seen a thing where they did rice, like clean, they start with the same rice and they talk bad to one rice and they talk good to one rice and the bad rice goes bad. So,
Yes,
obviously our bodies are very influenced over things that are said.
that's right. Oh gosh, don't get us started on that conversation.
I had to bring it up
That's
just because it was cool.
fascinating,
It is very
fascinating
fascinating.
conversation.
Tonight has been fascinating so far, and I can't wait for the
I'm
rest of the
glad.
questions. But
I,
so
I,
go
I was
ahead.
hoping it wasn't going to be too dry, but I don't know. I
No.
find it interesting.
I have found it completely interesting. Of course, I came up with the
Good.
question, so of course I do. Hopefully, everybody else is enjoying it. And
I hope so.
you know, I say this a lot in selling APLGO and in life. And I say, so many things start with the gut, and I'm just wondering if that is also true with the immune system. And I already know the answer to that since we've answered that a little bit in some of the other questions. And just wondering how closely the immune system is related to our gut.
Oh, this is so fun. I love this question. Okay, so we've got this bidirectional communication between the gut-brain axis, right? We've gone over that. And the brain is also influenced by the immune system and the glandular hormonal or endocrine system and the neural pathways. I seem to always have to mention these because they're so interrelated, as well as the autonomic nervous system, things that go without us even trying, like our digestive system. Um, and also the intestines and the nervous system. And again, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal gland axis and the vagus nerve, all of those affect. Now I'm going to enlarge this so you can see how just the gut-brain axis is the center point of all the other immune system functions, the nervous and endocrine systems versus the circulatory system. So under nervous and endocrine systems, we got the autonomic nervous system, the enteric nervous system, and again, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis and vagus nerve. Now, the circulatory system, it involves the immune pathways, and we're going to go over that in detail shortly here, and also the endocrine pathways as well, and the neural pathways and the gut microbiome released factors. So all of these things are releasing biochemicals and sending signals back and forth to the brain and back, and also to the entire system. Okay, so now there's a thing called the triad balance of health resilience for the immune gut brain pathway. So there's a triad going on here. There's a critical relationship between nutrition, the gut microbiome, or the beneficial aerobic bacteria in the gut, and immune system balance. The metabolite signaling means that the gut bacteria break down dietary fiber into short chain fatty acids, which are more easily digested, more easily able to repurpose into other types of molecules, and they reduce inflammation and regulate immune functions. Also, any disruption in this triad, which I'll go over right here, this interconnected system can lead to immune dysregulation. So we need to make sure their immune system is working properly, and any breakdown in any of these systems and lack of communication breakdown will cause this dysregulation. So immune dysregulation can lead to chronic inflammation and allergic disorders. So I love this chart. This is really fun. Okay, so see how all these arrows are pointing back and forth. So the immune system up here, it depends on all of these interactions. So let's start on the left side. We've got microbial metabolites. So all of these beneficial bacteria in the gut are going to release signals to the brain, but also to the immune cells. And going off to the right here, the immune cells are mediated by nutrients in our diet, nutrient-mediated immune regulation. So all these nutrients that we break down, phytochemical complexes, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, fatty acids, all of these are going to be entering the cells and entering this communication network that helps the immune system decide what to do. So we have to stay highly nourished so that our immune system is more intelligent and more together and not damaged. So notice how the immune system will improve allergies or not, depends on your microbiome down here. So if it's a bad environment down here, then you're going to have allergies. If your immune system is highly nourished, then your body will be able to make sure that those allergens are destroyed and you don't have a histamine reaction. So then back to the immune system, back and forth here. So anytime someone has a health condition or more, multiple conditions, then their immune system is going to be compromised. But if their immune system is highly nourished, then these conditions will improve because the cells will have better communication and there will be better repair and regeneration and corrective measures that happen because of the nutrients. So then, back down to nutrition, is a lot of these foods are having a direct effect on how your cells are repaired and how they function. So that means corrective, functioning, which means a person gets well. So now at the bottom, we've got these interplays, right? A lot of these foods will affect how your body reacts to allergens. And good if you're eating junk food, then your body's not going to have much to go on. It's going to react. It's going to try to get rid of it and not know the difference between what should be there and what shouldn't, kind of thing. So then we've got an interplay here. The microbiome nutrition directly after digestion affects this population here. So if you're eating junk food and your system is not nourished, you're going to have all these inflammatory reactions, all these problems, but you're also going to have a poor gut condition, illness-causing bacteria overriding or overpowering the good bacteria. So you're going to have immune system issues there. So this is really fun. I don't know about you guys, but I thought this was really fun to see.
It
Call
is
me a
very
nerd.
fun to
I don't know.
see. I love your diagrams personally. I like it.
Okay, I think I can make that smaller again. All righty. So again, there's that two-way relationship, right? The gut microbes. I just kind of reiterate what I just said right here. I just realized that this morning when I was going over the notes. I thought, oh, that's redundant. Anyhow, those of you who like to see it in words, it's right here.
I love to see it in
Okay,
words
so
too. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So then there's this wonderful, when we talk about poor microbial balance that damages the tight junctions. Okay, let me just read you this one. There's a barrier of defense. It's a single layer of intestinal epithelial cells, certain cells that line the intestines in the stomach, protected by a layer of mucus and tight junctions. That's when you have these junctions damaged, then you ruin your intestinal permeability, and it can't stop harmful microbials from entering the deep tissues and the circulatory system. So this poor microbial balance that damages the tight junctions can lead to what's called leaky gut. And here's an actual visual of what this leaky gut really means. So here's on this side, we've got eubiosis, And this is regular, healthy epithelium cells. Nutrients are arriving and they're going through these little projections, mycelia, or I'm sorry, cilia, and they're entering the bloodstream, behind here. So then, you've got all these receptor sites that are determining what comes into the cell. And that's very effective when it's not damaged like that. Dysbiosis happens when, you start breaking down from lack of nourishment and all the other factors that make you healthy. So the cells start wearing down and they start not being able to absorb nutrients as efficiently. And so then, if that progresses, then you can get to leaky gut syndrome. So these projections are gone and there's leaks because of the openings between the cells. So these tight junctions no longer exist. So that's what leaky gut is all about.
Okay.
All right. So one more picture before your next question. I think we're doing pretty well. Okay. So here's another great photograph. I could not resist. Complete and biologically correct nourishment, major determinants for composition and function of human gut microbiome. So, you've got all your vitamins and minerals that are present in all these different types of foods, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and all of the plant kingdom and their wonderful phytochemical complexes. So we want to maintain our metabolic rate so that nutrients get distributed, and we don't want any foods or substances that will block any of the circulatory pathways or absorbability of nutrients inside of our cells. So that's pretty much it. I know that by the time it gets down to your gut, all the nutrients have been absorbed, and the fibers that aren't digestible are landing in the large intestine. So we have this environment that's very important to maintain the communication throughout the body.
Wow. Truly
Okay,
amazing. Really is.
I think so. That
Well,
is the
it
body.
proves what I say. I say that the gut is the controller of a lot of things in our body, and so it does seem to ring true.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this month we have our immunity kit on sale. It is BOGO, which is an amazing kit. And I think one question that I get from people when they buy our products is how should they use it? And one of the things that I was wondering is should alt grow in air be something that people take every day, or is it something that they should take when they're feeling down, or is it kind of like somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, somewhere, well, yeah, it's a good idea all the way around, whether you're feeling down or you want to keep them as part of your daily nutrition, because that's all it is. These are very highly absorbable nutrients the body loves and will want to utilize to its fullest extent. We have 39 trillion cells, like I always say, and each cell is performing over 5,000 actions every second. Okay, not every day, not every minute, not every hour, every second. So you can imagine all the activity that's going on in there, and it's always looking for nutrients to optimize itself. Always, you could never waste anything when it comes to this kind of nourishment. So, in understanding that, that your body needs a full range of nutrients to function and thrive, why be half healthy? Why be a little bit healthy when you can be optimally healthy and just all of a sudden elevate yourself into a higher plane of existence, different perspectives, more energy, being more creative, improving your memory, and your executive function, your intelligence. All that is elevated when you're highly nourished. So when you want to boost your immune system, even though you're doing everything else right, why not add that on there, because your body's going to love it and make use of it. It's not going to waste it, guaranteed, you know. So the immunity kit is a highly nourishing set of all these plant complexes, like I just said, the body's trillions of cells used to the fullest extent every single day, maintaining, repairing, and replicating the DNA. That is so important to continue the DNA quality, integrity, to keep you younger, healthier, stronger, longer. So the immune kit, botanicals or formulations can be important as part of your daily nutrient-oriented immune system maintenance. And so the immunity kit contains a vast array of these phytochemical complexes the body recognizes, completely biocompatible, to be integrated into the body's cellular functions. Like I just said, the kit contains all these nutrient factors for aiding and maintaining true cell energy production, rather than taking in something that is a nervous system stimulant, which is very draining on the system when it comes to using nutrients to calm the nervous system down and eliminate the toxins. All these energy drinks, they are not food, they are poisons. I did a whole complete YouTube video on this on my channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I highly suggest it if you want to stay up and apprised of all the things that are bad for you and all the solutions that are so good for you. Those very problems, there are always solutions that I offer on these videos. So also, sleep, hydration, purified spring water, always use purified spring water. Any other type of water is not going to nourish your cells. Exercise, sunlight, all these whole food, nutrient balanced, in your daily diet. It's all critical to enjoy those full health benefits and to get well faster, to reverse the degenerative health process. So the APLGO drops, they significantly contribute to this process. So the immune kit can become just an important routine in your nutritional health management. These drops are very important for your routine.
Awesome. And I didn't ask this in that, but is there an optimal time or does it really not matter?
It does not matter. Your body will use nutrients any time of day and night, all the
Awesome.
time.
Awesome. I just want to give the proper answers when people ask me, at least know that, I've got it covered. I tell them the only rule is don't chew it.
Right, right. Oh, also, things like the relax. If you're already exhausted and tired, you might not want to drive a distance if you just take a relax because that's just going to calm your nervous system down and just make you want to just sit down and gel, and if you fall asleep, then your body needs it, kind of thing. So
Yes.
it's not like it's a dangerous, sedative or anything, but still, you have to be careful.
I do caution about that one. That one, and then I say, if you're ready to go to bed, probably don't take a GTS. So those two are definitely more of a good timing thing, depending on what you have going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a cool question, and I've been wanting to ask you because I take a lot of the drops, and I was really sick sometime last year. I believe it was Heart Health Month, ironically, and I had a sore throat, and I was putting everything in my system, and I'm sure all of it helped at once. However, heart isn't one that I reach for on a daily basis, and so I popped actually three because I heard there's like a rule. I think it was like taking more than three is kind of silly. You don't really get a lot of benefit. So I popped three in my mouth and I sucked on them and I took a nap and I woke up and I felt better. And
Mm.
so since then, when I start feeling that little bit of sickness that we talked about earlier, your body's starting to feel a little tired, a little run down, or if I notice that my kids have a scratch in their throat, I actually do an HRT drop for them. And so far it's working, and even had an associate who had success with that with her kiddos. So I just have to know, like, is there something to that?
Oh, yeah. There's so many different phytochemical complexes in these botanicals that, we touch on them ever so slightly every time we talk about different drops. And the HRT is no different. When you have your heart and what it does for the heart muscles and the nervous system, all the communication pathways to the heart, the hawthorn flower has been very well researched and very known to strengthen the heart and improve its function. So in order to do that, though, there has to be that communication pathway that we just discussed, all these different uh, interactions between all the different systems, including the immune system. The immune system is very, very important for maintaining the health. Also the white mistletoe leaf and the seed buckthorn berry and the grape seed. These are all very, very important for not only the immune system, but to have a very strong heart. So, like for the hawthorn flower, it reduces the excitability of the nervous system while improving its function. So that means if you're under stress, your heart starts racing. These nutrients will help the immune system realize, okay, it's a stress factor. She's nourished, and we can calm that down, and rather than excite the inflammatory reactions under stress, kind of thing. So these botanicals will help keep things in homeostasis, without going off and being overreactive. And also, it's good for strengthening the heart muscles, which are composed of heart cells. They improve circulation in the blood vessels in the brain and improve the contractile function of the heart. So the electrical systems are also addressed. Also shown to improve maximal workload and increase exercise tolerance. So you can go longer, stronger when you're exercising. It reduces the oxygen consumption by the heart and reduces shortness of breath and fatigue. So you go longer, and also you don't run out of breath so quickly. So you can build up much more endurance and strength kind of workout in your body. Then we have the white mistletoe leaf. It's found to improve fluid regulation, allowing the blood vessels to relax. It lowers the levels of C-reactive protein molecules, those inflammatory reactions, which, presence indicate inflammation of some kind. And it's been shown to improve functioning of all types of immune cells and be toxic to tumor cells. Now, a lot of these botanicals have been tested under tumor conditions in laboratories and some animal subjects and some human test subjects as well. So right now I'm currently researching and compiling a book on cancer, and I'm discovering even some of the botanicals that are these formulations and other botanicals that I'm researching. Science has shown that a lot of these phytochemical complexes in these plants have been known to destroy cancer cells or just not allow them to grow. There are so many ways to destroy a cancer cell, and scientists have found that a lot of these phytochemical complexes will actually go in and destroy it. So we need to do more human studies, obviously. I will say though that my my when I had my nutritional health practice in Northern California for 30 years, I had clients come in who had this condition. And so when they went back to their doctors said that it went into remission. So the science matched the results, and the doctors were very, very happy. Happy with me, happy with their patient, relieved, really. But that's as far as we can take it. And we can't go around saying that, oh, we have products that cure cancer. That is against the law, and it is against the very influential uh, um, entities, I should say lightly here, that that can get very angry, with us.
Right.
So yeah, that's as far as I can take it. I'm really, just holding myself back here. But the plant compounds are so powerful that they do improve how the cells work, and they do remove a lot of foreign, cells or foreign pathogens in the body. Okay, I better move on before I get myself and us into trouble. Okay, so now the grapeseed also helps increase the number of red blood cells and oxygen carrying hemoglobin. So it's important for good energy levels. If you don't have healthy red blood cells and you're unable to carry that oxygen into all of your system, then your energy levels will go down. So grapeseed, they're actually 40 times more effective than vitamin C. Uh, and all these free radicals that don't belong in the body, that are damaging our cells, that can cause premature aging and all kinds of inflammatory reactions. Also, grapeseed is rich in the omega-3s. The omega-9s, our bodies can make 6 and 9 fatty acids, but we need the omega-3s from various foods. The monounsaturated fatty acids, all the different flavonoids, the phytosterols, not to be confused with chemical steroids. I did a whole video on that explaining the difference. Tannins, resveratrol, proanthocyanidins, phytoncides, these all are phytochemical complexes and classifications that enhance the immune killer cell functions. All right, so that it's a good idea to take HRT.
Yeah, that the fact that you read that one where you said the 40 times more effective than vitamin C, I had read that fact when I was researching it for Heart Health Month, and I was telling people about it on Facebook, and that's what made me think it clicked in my brain to say, okay, I'm going to try this one, which probably also helps circulate the other drops through my body more and also help me get better. But yes, HRT is my go-to when I'm sick. So,
Excellent, yes. See,
and I think
people feel, I was just going to say, people feel that way about all the drops.
definitely. And and I think we really got this earlier and it kind of was a double question, but it was just thinking of if someone gets sick and they're not normally sick and maybe they don't reach for the immunity kit or they don't have it in their cabinet, um, what could help us if they have drops in general? What things, and basically it's all of them, right?
Yeah, because of their vast array of these phytochemicals. And when you have different plants in different formulations and you're taking more than one in a day, then you're going to have a huge array of phytochemicals that are are going to boost the immune system, make the immune system more intelligent. They're going to repair any damage to the DNA. They're going to help the nervous system improve also. This is all about repairing and protecting how all of our cells work, and most of all, protecting the genetic code that's in our DNA. So, I mean, like I said, in my book, it has every single botanical has many, many, many bullet points and many research citations on what scientists have found on all of the different health benefits that these plants offer. And we cover only a small portion of them every time we do one of these calls because we want to focus on the kits themselves, or answer health questions. So yeah, um, you can't go wrong with the plant kingdom, especially these superfoods. I consider them superfoods because they're higher in these nutrient factors than some of the other plants in the kingdom.
Right. I have both a digital copy and a physical copy of your book, and that is a go-to for sure. And I tell people, this one, maybe power apricot. We can't tell these phytonutrients that they only have to work on your hormones. They're going to work on all the things that they're able to work on. So, if you can only afford one or two drops, sometimes that's okay because you're getting a lot of benefits. You just find the ones that match up for you. And
Oh
they
yeah,
have a vast array of uses, not just the one thing that we put on it. We can't make brain only help for focus, right?
yeah, exactly. Excellent.
So this was just a fun question. So, you hear things like you'll catch a cold if you go outside when it's raining or if you have wet hair when it's cold. So I just was wondering if you knew of any big myths that people still believe and it's your favorite thing, what things?
Well, I think they're misunderstood. And let me go ahead and answer the first part, which is kind of fun, and then I'll answer, the myths part of it.
Right.
But here we go. Okay, so you're more likely to catch a cold if you eat junk food, hate vegetables, or have too many all-nighters. It's too much alcohol, too many hangovers, and too much toxic liver kind of thing. You're going to have your immune system severely reduced. Uh, if you don't eat your vegetables, you're missing out on these whole huge array of phytochemical complexes that help everything in the body. So if you try to be a vegan, I feel badly for vegans. Whenever I've had a vegan client, I have explained how their bodies were how they had their health issues because they were missing a lot of protein factors in their bodies. So after a time, your body will start screaming for complete protein. I haven't seen one vegan yet that didn't turn into a meat eater later because they just could not resist the craving, for this type of protein that can only be derived from meat and other animal-derived food. That is, these foods contain all 9 essential amino acids our bodies can't produce. So if we're eating partial proteins in the plant kingdom, we're not getting all those essential amino acids. They have to be present all at once in order for the body to rebuild its cells and rebuild the tissues, and rebuild all of the cells in the body, including the immune system cells. So also your immune system is a weakling. You're likely to catch a cold if you've got a weak immune system and you think you can risk it. Oh, I'm just going to go out for a few minutes. Then you get thoroughly chilled. And that's when viruses love that temperature in the body when you are less than optimal, warmth. Or you just think you're too tough to put on a jacket, oh, I don't need a jacket, I'll be fine. Well, if your immune system is weak, then chances are you'll catch a cold or maybe pneumonia. Depends on what you inhale, if it's a virus or if it's a bacterial problem. So also, okay, now getting chilled, scientists say that when you're chilled, it's really a way one can catch a cold or worse, since it lowers the body temperature and it provides an opportunity for cold viruses to make themselves at home. Oh, good, here's the right environment, just right for us, kind of thing. They sit there and they start multiplying. If you've never had APLGO drops, chances are you might be susceptible to someone near you or on a surface or somewhere, which I'll go over in a moment, that you'll be exposed to a virus one way or another. And the APLGO drops contain all those phytochemical complexes that protect the immune system and disable disassemble, destroy viruses and bacteria and fungi and parasites. So those phytochemicals are so powerful for making sure those microbes don't make us sick.
Wow.
So myths. So people say, don't go outside when it's cold, you know, even though one's more likely to catch a virus during winter, since viruses survive best in lower temperatures. Um, but, people get sick more often when the temperatures are cold. Going outside with wet hair, getting feet wet, going out in the rain. If you have a high core body temperature and you're healthy and you're highly nourished, you may not catch a cold, okay? But if you're, just feeling poorly and you're tired, you're exhausted, all those things that make your immune system weaker, then chances are you could succumb to a cold. The cold weather is not the cause itself. It just depends on your body's chill tolerance or your immune status.
Mm.
Okay. So, I don't know if you want me to go over what a common cold really is, but when you are on a contact surface or when you are exposed to a contact surface that has a virus on it, it can last a few hours to several days. So the influenza virus, for instance, lasts 24 to 48 hours on surfaces like plastic and stainless steel, and less than 12 hours on soft items like cloth or tissues. A common cold virus, the rhinovirus, lasts up to a full day on hard surfaces and about 4 hours on soft materials. And the stomach virus, the norovirus, may survive on hard surfaces and carpets for days or weeks if it's not disinfected in that area. Airborne exposure to droplets from a cough or a sneeze, that's one of the surest ways to have your immune system, just take action and try to destroy the virus. Sharing items with an infected individual, clothing, utensils or blankets, drinking out of each other's cups, things like that. So, if you don't maintain that healthy triad balance, then you're going to have a weakened immune system, so you have to have all those essential nutrients. And here's a link to my book, Nutritional Synergy, which outlines all of the different food categories that are more in detail than any other food system out there. So you'll be able to choose foods that are in to ensure that you have a complete array of all the body's essential nutrients that it needs to be strong and function. And also, it establishes your healthy gut environment. You have to have a healthy gut environment, as we know now. And, you've got to maintain your optimal immune efficiency. Okay,
Right.
so, go ahead.
Okay, well, we're almost at time, but this is an awesome fact sheet that we'll have access to for sure. I do want you
Yeah.
to tell us about your website. I know we always mention that. Tell us where to find this, and then if anybody has any questions, go ahead and raise your hand while she's telling us about where to find her.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah, you can read all of this when you look at the PDF.
It's awesome though, and I
So,
love to know that the cold actually can cause a cold because I thought that was a myth. So awesome.
yeah, it depends on your immune system, really.
Where
And,
can
so
I
these are
get
all
your
the
book?
things that, pardon me?
I'm sorry, where can I get your book?
She's
Oh,
about to
yeah,
tell us, Kathy.
yeah, that's coming right up.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No,
It's
no
okay.
problem. So here's all the scientific references that I use to back up what I say. So no one can argue with the peer-reviewed science. So here's the book, the second edition, actually, of the APL Product Reference Nutritional Health Guide. And just go to my website, holisticchoices.com, click on the APLGO link on the side, or you can just use this URL. It'll take you directly to the page where the all the videos and all the PDF files are posted there. This will be posted there tonight. And also, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the link to order the book. And so I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, actually, yes. Yeah. So I'm going to take you to the website really quickly because sometimes people land on a different website. There's another Holistic Choices out there that is in Washington or somewhere. But so you just go to holisticchoices.com and click on the APL Go, and you'll see all the PDF documents we do on the monthly Zoom calls. You can download, and they're listed now by year. And this is where you can order the book. You can order the ebook digital version, which you can immediately download here, or you can order, the hard copy. And since this book came out before the LFT product came out, I went ahead and created a monograph on the LFT product that you can download for free. It's just a PDF file. And as you can see, the kind of research I do, just as an example, there are many, many entries here as to what each of these botanicals in these formulations do, and all of the scientific citations to back up. We have to always back ourselves up with real science. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of research that goes into each one of these formulations. And this is just the LFT, okay, just to show you what you get in the book and also in these monographs that are in the book.
Yes, it's an amazing book to have. It's very, very thick. And she also has a digital copy, so you can get either the digital or the print. And like I said, I have both. I find use for both. I like to have it at my table when we have an event or to show a doctor all about it. I don't see anybody else's hand. I think we learned a whole lot tonight. We learned sleep and gut's very important, and to take your APLGO drops. It comes down to we want to be healthy and have immunity. And I appreciate you, Mary Esther, for joining us tonight and giving us the wealth of information. And if you want the deep dive on the immunity kit, she's done all the drops. So you can find them on her playlist on YouTube. I think she has an APO Go playlist if you find her over on YouTube. And you can find all of those there. And have a great night.
Thank you so much, Amber. Great questions. I really enjoyed it tonight.
It was fun.
Bye, everybody.
This is
Bye,
my
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
this is my
Bye.
first time here, and this is
Bye. Have a good night. Thank you.
fascinating. Thank you
Bye,
so
Carol.
much.
I'm so glad you
Oh,
came,
you're very
Kathy. I'm glad
welcome.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll be back. So thank,
excellent.
have a
Excellent.
good day,
Yeah,
everyone.
you
Bye.
too. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye, Tuesday. Awesome. Bye. Bye,
Bye
Julie.
bye.
All right. Bye bye. Everybody have a good night.